mate, did I see you did a high rocks yesterday?
No, no, I never done. That wasn't me. I never done the like stuff. I just done a couple of the jogs and stuff.
Okay, okay, but you are, but
My coach.
yeah, go on.
Sorry, my coach was doing it yesterday, like doing the stations, and I just done the Ks with him.
Got you. Because you are an active like high rocks participant, though, aren't you? You do a few.
I do a few. I do like it. Enjoy it.
Yeah, I couldn't believe it. Like, because I was up at the McGregor fight. Was it a week after you went and did three over one weekend?
Yeah. Aye, the week after I done it.
And you're pretty good, right? Like, there's not much room for improvement with your times.
I know there's always room for improvement. Always room for improvement.
You know, there's quite a few boxers now getting in on it, right? Who's good? Have you got? Do you know anyone that rivals your times?
I've not seen anybody that's done like my times, but I remember I was down in Manchester after like my stomach thing had happened, and I was doing a doubles, like it was just a mess about, and I seen Josh Padley in the warm up area,
Oh, really? Yeah, yeah.
but I don't know what he got. He was doing doubles.
Okay. So you don't know if you left him for dead then?
Nah, I don't. I don't know. I don't know. I've not seen any boxers getting good times, to be fair. So
Well, I think Big Stephen Ward did it in just over an hour in a doubles,
right,
which is decent. So when's your next one?
I'm doing it with my coach down in Birmingham at the end of the month, at the end of October.
Anything else after that, or is that the one? I suppose you got to see how the fight goes first, right? Before you book anything long
Yeah,
term.
see how the fight goes first. I've got a backyard ultra last man standing thing booked for 8th of November.
Okay.
That's 6.7k on the hour every hour till somebody's left or until you drop out.
Oof, mate, that's disgusting. So I'm doing the London High Rocks on the Sunday, like the one at the XL where they've just got the one lap.
Aye, aye.
Um,
I seen I was hoping to get tickets for that, but I seen that it was all sold out.
yeah, it was tough. It was like, yeah, I think it all went quick. So anyway, but to the job at hand, obviously, I was up at the McGregor fight this year. Did that go as you expected? Because a lot of people were excited by that fight, thinking it was like a 50-50. It's a good, hard fight, and you ran away with it, right?
Yeah, I kind of expected a bit of a war, to be honest, just because I know Lee so well, and I know obviously we've sparred plenty together and stuff, and yeah, I was expecting a bit of a war. I knew I had the capabilities to outbox him anyway, but um, I didn't think it would have went like that. To be fair,
I mean, how much confidence do you take from that? The fact that you've done that to someone like him who's got that experience and has that much respect in the sport.
yeah, lots of confidence, but I do think, like I've said for a long time, and maybe it's fallen on deaf ears, but I do think that's the level I'm at, and I've been at that level, and um, I was confident going into it. So yeah, I'm glad that that was how it went, and that was the kind of finally getting the recognition of, this guy's is what he says he is.
So are you the next King of Scotland?
I'm not billing myself as that. The that might be what they're calling me, and if other people want to call it, that's fine. But I don't. That's not the way I talk about myself.
Do you feel the pressure though? Because I think I had a similar situation, right? I was in Belfast with Lewis Crocker last week, obviously for his fight a couple of weeks ago. And there was this thing, it's like, oh, if Paddy wins, we don't know where that leaves Irish boxing. But if Lewis wins, the big nights are coming back to Belfast. There's this I suppose, and you can see how the fight poster looks, right? There's this I want to say this anticipation that you do the job on Lorente, and the big nights are back in Scotland again, and it's kind of hinged on you, right? Do you feel like that? Whether the pressure, the expectation, the anticipation, it's on your shoulders at present.
Not really, mate. And the reason being is that for long enough I've asked to get in this position, and for long enough I've asked for, I says I didn't want journeyman when I was at the start of my career. Then I fought all sorts of domestic fights, and I was saying I don't want any more domestic fights. I need to move on. So I don't feel like you're allowed to feel pressure for something that you've asked for. In my opinion, like if I didn't think I was ready for this level and I didn't think I was ready to carry, you know, or bring back big nights to Scotland, then I wouldn't have asked for it.
Sure. And I suppose going into the McGregor fight, though, it wasn't like you were there necessarily the next in line for the very next fight, because I don't think anyone thought Josh was going to be done at the end of that fight either, right? So it's
I
kind of you might have been asking for it, but it might have come even sooner than you'd anticipated.
I think it came a bit quick because they were talking about it at that press conference, saying, "Oh, the person who wins this fight could potentially be, the next name in Scotland," and blah blah blah. Again, not thinking that that was what the outcome was going to be with Josh. So you're right, it did come thick and fast, but that's what we're here for.
And I suppose in some ways, a bit like Lewis in Ireland, is it's not just you. Like there's a whole host of exciting talent coming up behind you, right? So it's not like you're a standalone attraction on the bill. There's some good guys coming through. You've obviously got Alex Arthur, his two lads. You've got Reagan, your stablemate. There's plenty of other guys there to help carry the load to bring in a new era of Scottish boxing, right?
Yeah, for sure. And if you actually look back to the Hydro card, it was all the same boys on it that are fighting on this card, and it was like every other fight was a knockout or some real good standout performances. So it was like we've got the talent, we've got the entertainment factor. It's just getting the platform, which we've now got as well.
What do you make of your opponent, Lorente?
Um, I don't know, to be honest. I've not really watched them. It's just like my coaches have watched them, and I just know, like me, I've prepared. I know that it doesn't matter who's standing in front of me. I'll adjust to whatever happens. So, um, I don't know. It doesn't really matter.
How does it feel being a fighter like yourself in that position where one more fight and you're going to unlock possibly big names and stuff, and you get people like myself, but obviously all those YouTubers and the ones who want the names in the headlines, chucking names like Conlon and all the next one. How hard is it to focus on the job at hand when you get people chucking the next ones at you?
I just think there's not a next one. If there's like you need to deal with this one, or there's not a next one, it doesn't mean that I'm not thinking about the next ones. But this is like a final eliminator for the WBC. The WBC put it up on the website the other day, something like whoever wins this fight, big fight in Glasgow, whoever wins this fight will fight Stephen Fulton. Obviously Stephen Fulton's tied up at the end of October as well, but they're looking at it and saying that this is this and this is what it is. So I'm taking that for word and thinking like this is life or death now.
Being that guy, does that mean that Fulton or Foster, the winner of that, is the one that you would like next? Is that the path that you're looking at?
Yeah, or whoever's that the champion by the time I get to there or whatever. Like I don't know how the dynamic will shift or play out after my fight, after their fight, but like yeah, after this one, I just want a world title, mate. It's not like it's not a question. It's not like, oh, you could potentially fight this guy, you could potentially fight that guy. No, it's like next one's a world title when it needs to be.
Do you think that your outlook now and the way that you're talking there, do you think that's down to the health issues you've had in the past, in the sense that you don't look too far ahead because you don't take it for granted because you've had the issues that you've had and you've had to overcome that stuff?
That but more like anything can happen, not just in boxing, in life, and what's meant to be for you will be for you. And like I genuinely believe that because of everything that's happened to me, and I'm still here pushing, and like this was meant to be for me, and this is going to be a big performance on Saturday, and then the next thing is a world title. That's the path that I've seen.
Obviously, it's been well documented about the health stuff. Was your life in jeopardy at either time, like when you were born and then when you had the twist? Were you in trouble, like big trouble?
So when I was born, I don't know as much about it. I don't know as much about when I was born. They knew that this was happening, and then obviously there's X amount of percentage of we can sort this or we can't sort it. And I had like one of the best. I can't remember what they're called now.
Like surgeons.
Whatever, one of the best child surgeons. Had happened to be, yeah, in Newcastle, and that's where I went to. My mum had went to give birth. So that was kind of like life saving, yeah. And then with the twisted bowel, like I'd been left for a long time before they had actually figured out what it was, and it was like, no, your bowel could burst inside you here, so we need to get it sorted ASAP. And it was like, as soon as they knew, it was straight to the operating theatre kind of thing. So, aye,
And I read somewhere you weren't sure like how that came about, but it could have been like inflammation from food or something, right?
yeah, definitely. And it was like to do with just like the way your intestines work, as everybody else's is smooth and mine's is like sticky and caught together. So it could have been just to do with trying to digest food after dieting or anything like that.
When you look back on the pictures of you that have obviously done the rounds of you in the bed, do you feel like was there a time like when you were there? Did you feel like this was not possible that you would get back to this?
Not really. I just thought it might take some time, and never did I think it would be this quick. Like less than a year, I was back fighting. So, I never thought it would be that quick, but I didn't think it was going to be impossible. But I just took the time that I did have to properly like get myself back to where I needed to be.
And what are your emotions now when you look back and you see yourself in that picture?
Um, I don't know, proud of how far I've came, and I don't know. I don't actually know how I feel. I never think about it. I never think about it. I never think about what happened. I never talk about what happened, like unless I'm being interviewed. But like genuinely, mate, it was just something that's happened to me, and it could have been a big deal, or it could have been made a bigger deal, but that's not how I am. Like it's happened, and I've just moved on from it.
Yeah. And it's always tempting when you speak to a Scottish fighter to talk about the likes of Ken Buchanan, Josh Taylor, Jim Watt, and that. Are there any of those guys? We know Josh Taylor was a huge fan of Kenny Buchanan. Is there anyone that stands out for you? And like any fights, marquee Scottish fights, Ricky Burns, all those guys. Is there fighters and fights from Scottish history that stand out to you?
Yeah, mate, I love all these guys, and like again, I grew up watching them. Scott Harrison with my dad. That was one of my dad's favorite fighters. Well, Lemond. One of the fights that always stands out to me was Ricky Burns vs Kevin Mitchell. Um, I'll always remember going to see that, and also like Ricky wasn't a knockout artist or anything, and it was my dad loved Kevin Mitchell even though he was English, and obviously we loved Ricky, and then Ricky to go and stop him and like properly stop him was like a mega fight that I pure loved. Um, and then Josh, obviously, I watched him for years, even as an amateur coming through and stuff. So it's all these guys as people I look up to.
Yeah, I covered Burns Mitchell. In some ways, that had a touch of the you and McGregor about it, right? People were saying 50-50 and Ricky ended up doing a job on him.
Yeah, it was some fight, man. Honestly, I don't think I'll ever forget that fight just because Mitchell was also like running through people at the time, and back when I used to watch Box Nation like every day, he was always battering people. So I thought it was going to be a tough fight for Ricky.
What do you love most about boxing? Do you love the discipline and structure and the training that it gives you, or do you love the buzz of fight night and the adrenaline and the fact that that you're going through this sickly period now this week where you're thinking about it a lot, but at the end of it when you get through it, and you've won, you had your hand raised, how much gratification you get from putting up with this week. What's the highlight of boxing for you at the moment?
I'm not actually like that's. I've never nobody's ever asked me that. Honestly, don't know. I just like the fact that I'm pushing myself beyond a level that normal people who live a normal life and I don't know, does that sound daft or arrogant? I don't know, but like I feel like I'm pushing myself beyond what's possible with the build-ups and then to then go and get the result and I'm like just crave that kind of like win. I just crave winning. Like in day-to-day stuff, it's stupid. Like anything I do, I just want to win it and I'm like I want to say like I'm better than you. I'm
Yeah.
better than these people. Like
No, mate, I think that's fair. Like when you say about normal people, like I'll speak to fighters and particularly ex-fighters, and I'll say like, what's it like going back to civilian life? Because it's not normal. What you do is not normal. Not everyone can do what you do.
that's it, and it's like mate, it's daft. Like I don't train or focus my training on high rocks, but when I do high rocks, I'm like, I want to beat high roxers. I want to be like sub 60, beating guys that are training this every day. But that's not my specific training, but I still want to beat you at it. It's like, or if I'm doing long distance running or if I'm doing any running, I'm like, I still want to be better than you at running, even though I'm not a runner, or you know what I mean? So I've just get that thing where I just want to be better than people at things.
Well,
It could be
that's
anything.
hey, that's a healthy disposition to have in the business you're in, right? That's what you
Yeah,
need.
definitely.
So how do you separate that from being a nice guy, from being like the charming guy that I'm speaking to? Because when you do want to win, it's kind of like a win at all costs, right? Like when you're in the trenches, you can't be a nice guy.
No, definitely, and that's there's a separation between it's you or me type thing. Where if it's not me, that's affecting food on the table or a holiday or a paint my house this month or just one of the ones where it's that survival. It's different. It's totally different. It's like it's survival of the fittest at that point.
And I suppose just one more in closing. How excited are you by the prospect of what is next? Without trying to belabor that point, but like there's some big options out there. Michael Collins obviously doing his thing in Dublin, and there's a chance for a cracking Celtic fight, I guess, between you guys. There's the WBC that we've talked about. Frank's obviously invested in you because he's taking you home and headlining there. So doors are opening, like, and without looking far ahead, but it's got to be exciting because you can see the landscape.
Yeah, and I think like every time that I've fought and performed or fought and delivered, like people are always focusing on this next one. I've always delivered no matter what it's been so far. I've always delivered no matter what my circumstances been. So I'm going to deliver again on Saturday, and then the next thing needs to be bigger. And that's just how I see it. Is like something this is big, but the next thing is going to be bigger. The next thing needs to be bigger. The next thing needs to be bigger. So I'm at risk of just want much more all the time, which is
Yeah,
why like I think like that's why it works. Like I need to keep being bigger and better every time.
it's like that snowball rolling down the hill, right?
That's it, mate. Just keep rolling into bigger things and better things and getting bigger and better. And then I'll be one of the guys that I'm talking about where I'm like, I loved seeing Ricky Burns v so and so. I loved seeing Scott Harrison. I loved seeing Willie Lemon. People in 5, 10 years will say, oh, I loved seeing Nathaniel do this. Or the next guy you're interviewing through Scotland's going to say, oh, that show there that put him there is that's kind of the goal into it.
By the way, is it Nathaniel every time?
Somebody else just asked me this like 2 questions ago. Yeah, mate. Do you know what? It's funny because see, when I grew up, everyone always said, Nathaniel, what's going on with that? Could your mum not decide between Nathan and Daniel? That was always the joke with me. And I always it used to do my head in, and then I'm like, that's a cool, like that's a pure unique name. And when everybody used to try and call me Nathan or something, I was like, nah, it's Nathaniel. That's my name.
Yeah, yeah. Nice one. It was good to clarify for the interests of writing pieces and that kind of stuff anyway. But yeah, thank you so much for taking the time to do this, particularly on Fight Week. I've been looking forward to speaking to you for a while, so thanks for making it happen, my man, and all the
Thank
best.
you, mate.
Take care.
Thank you. See you later.
All right, bye-bye. Bye.